Any discussion of how to meditate should begin with why meditation. There's a lot of misunderstanding on the subject of what it means to meditate. I was quite astonished on the television in Hawaii, in the apartment where I was staying a few months ago, to turn on a Christian program and hear them talking about this woman who was possessed of the devil because she had meditated. There is a great resistance to meditation, thinking that it's something that separates you from God and gets you locked into the ego. In fact, there's a lot of mistake in the understanding of the terminology. For example, the goal of meditation is self-realization. To many people, this self means the ego. And they think that the goal of meditation then is to become so locked in your ego that you just cut yourself off from grace, from faith, that you're trying to do everything yourself, that meditation is a means of only developing your own talents rather than allowing God to flow through you. A lot of theologians have made a big thing about the difference between the Christian religion and the Hindu religion and the practices of yoga and so on. They say that the Christian religion is superconscious religion in the sense of supernatural, in the sense of being open to God's grace, whereas the way of yoga, the way of meditation, is to presume egotistically to unite the soul with God, that it's a natural way, the way that nature allows us to unfold, which is only to the extent of the ego's potential, rather than bringing God into the picture at all. They even point to the fact that Buddhism doesn't even believe in God, which is true and not true at the same time. Most of the Buddhists don't believe in God, but that's because they haven't really understood their own teaching. Just as Yogananda used to say that Jesus Christ was crucified once, but his teachings have been crucified every day since then. The understanding of the followers is not always the intention of the teacher. To touch briefly on the story of Buddha, Buddha didn't speak about God because people had been using the concept of worship as a means of achieving worldly power. The karma kand in the Vedas is a lot of rituals that people practice in order to achieve success, in order to achieve fame, in order to conquer one's enemy, worldly goals. And so he was saying, don't expect anyone to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. But the understanding implied in that was that if you do it in the right way, it will be like your part in bringing the sunlight into the room isn't to go out there and beg the sunlight to enter it. Your part is to draw the curtains aside and open the windows. And that doesn't mean that you create the sunlight. Always what we need to do as people is to, as human beings, is to recognize that we are more than individuals. Recognize that we are a part of something much larger. An illustration that I've very often used, and it's a very helpful one in understanding also what meditation means and why we should do it, is the guitar. If you took the strings of a guitar from the guitar and stretched them as taut as they are on the guitar and plucked them, they would give very little sound. It's because of the sounding board of the guitar underneath those strings that the guitar has musical power. And those people who think of themselves as having to do everything themselves, having to fend for themselves, defend themselves, protect their rights, advance their own cause, and always think in terms of their own individuality as the sole reality, looking after number one, and not recognizing that they are a part of that one which is everywhere, then what they develop is a very thin kind of consciousness. And as a result of that thinness, they become fragile, they become brittle. And human lives suffer as a result. People who spend their lives trying to achieve outward security and outward fulfillment always find that something doesn't go right. There's always something missing. that something is, in the last analysis, God.